Hi, I'm Maddie, the Everygirl's fashion editor. Welcome to my home tour. I am a really big reader. So I have a Kindle and I read most of my books on my Kindle. So if I own a book, it's because I love it. I've read it multiple times. It is special in some way. This bookshelf was actually black when I got it. I ended up painting it about a year ago. I felt like it was a lot of black with my couch. And so I was like, I'm gonna make it green. And it was my first time I ever had picked a paint color in my life. And then I'm absolutely obsessed with this mirror. This is the famous Gleaming Primrose from Anthropologie. It's the portrait version and is another investment type piece that I just know I'm gonna have forever. I think it's so beautiful. And this is really special. This is something that me and two of my best friends all have in our homes. So I love that it's in my entryway, and it's obviously a matchbook, and I keep all of my matchbooks that I collect from restaurants and stuff. This is my living room. This is by far my favorite place in my apartment and is the place that I spend the most time and have spent the most time figuring out the design of. And the whole thing started out much more neutral than it is now. I spent all of COVID and the pandemic in here, and during that time I was like, I need color, I need life, especially during the point that, we weren't going into the office. I wanted to feel creative and inspired and happy in here. All of my art and my pillows and everything serve as pops of color. I wanted it to be really playful and to be somewhere that I was happy to bring my friends over and sit on the couch and drink wine and feel relaxed, but also that I could work from and feel happy and creative and inspired. So my gallery wall is one of my favorite things. Throughout the past few years, I've updated them as I've found things that I really like. By far my favorite piece of art in my whole apartment is this Barbie print. It's by a really cool artist who models them and shoots them. It's literally just called Vintage Barbie and Ken Photos. I love the 60s vintage Barbie that's featured in it. And that is the first one that I found of this set. I love that they all have meaning to me in some way, and I think that it was a really easy and non-committal way to bring more color in here also. The way I did this was I found on Pinterest this breakdown of frame sizes and orientations to build a gallery wall. I literally wrote down the size of frames that I needed for each and did it based off of the graph that they had. And then this is also one of my favorite things. This is also just from Etsy. It's my dream that this ivy grows and cascades down, but I haven't made it far enough with the plant that it's had the opportunity to, but I think this one is starting. It's growing this way and I think eventually will fall. This is my couch. It is actually part of the Everygirl collaboration with Interior Define. It is the Caitlin sectional. I had seen this picture on Pinterest that I was obsessed with. It was Kat Tanita, who is amazing. She's been featured on the site before. She had a black couch and a vintage gold mirror behind it. And I was absolutely obsessed with it. And I was like, I really want a black couch. That was my vision. And it turns out a black couch is very, very hard to find in a way that isn't a college frat boy vibe. This fabric has actually been shockingly easy to deal with. I never really thought that having a sectional in this living room was gonna be an option, but I was so excited to find one that fit in my space because most are massive and it wouldn't have been an option for me. This one is just the perfect size. I can fit 3 grown adults on it also, and I have had 2 friends sleep on it at once, which is really helpful as well. So this is my bedroom, and by far the part of my apartment that I've neglected the most. I don't care that much about my bedroom, but I do love what it's ended up looking like. I love these pillows. Literally everything over here is from Amazon. It's just cute and fresh. This little nightstand is from HomeGoods. I subscribe to a billion magazines, and so I keep all of them in there. This is my desk, and was kind of the find of my life because I have this pillar right here. And I somehow, when I was on the hunt for a desk, found this L-shaped one that fit literally perfect in this corner. I get my very best work done here. If I'm sitting at this desk, I am hustling. I love writing here. It's my favorite place to write. I, again, really wanted it to be a space that I felt inspired and creative. And I always get asked about my bulletin board. I have really curated it over the years. Everything on here is special and is stuff that I have found to be inspiring. This This little quote is something that I feel like I'll never get rid of. I had seen it in a magazine after COVID, and it was just about like fashion being back, and it's something that I look at all the time. It was really hard to like write and do content obviously during that time, especially about getting dressed because no one was getting dressed. Everyone that I work with also knows that I'm big on lists. I drive everyone that I work with crazy because I have everything on physical lists rather than our like digital system. You can see that that is true by my 3 planners that I always have. I have many lists physically here. So this was drawn by our very own Alaina Kaczmarski. My dad is from Rome. He came here when he was in his teens, and I still have a lot of family in Rome, and so it has double meaning to me. This is technically a walk-in closet, but I am really lucky that I have a ton of actual closet space, and I didn't need to use this area as a closet because everything else is contained. So I decided to turn it into this little like getting ready room. I decided to get these floating shelves and use it as like a little bag wall over here. And I have a lot of fun with it because I always make it my favorite like seasonal bags, so I just switched it out to my spring and summer ones, hence the oranges. It's actually really useful too because it allows me to really see everything that like I want to make use of. And so if I'm like, oh, I want to get more wear out of that bag this season, I will put it out and then I grab for it a lot. This is all my stuff that I like reach for every day. It's obviously pretty dark in here, so I have really like nice bright lights that I turn on when I'm doing my makeup. I'm really glad that I had the space to turn it into this because I actually feel like it kind of serves as another tiny room and it makes it feel a little bigger in here. So this is my little dining area. This table and these chairs were the first things that I bought for this apartment when I moved in 4 years ago. The table is from Pier 1. It really determined a lot of the vibe in here because it's so gold, so I felt like I couldn't do a ton of gold elsewhere. Another really nice thing is they had many different sizes for this glass top, so it's really customizable. These green velvet chairs also really determined a lot of my apartment. And this Miss Twiggy, surprise, surprise, is another Etsy find. I love to entertain. I think that my love language for my friends is very much quality time, and that I really show that by hosting little cocktail nights. My famous thing is I have an espresso machine, and so I make a mean espresso martini, and so I will often have my friends over for martinis. So this is my kitchen. These tiles are actually peel and stick ones. I wish I did a fun color now that I know that they worked so well, but it was so easy. It took me like an afternoon, and it was like $60 I think for all of them. These are really weird cabinets. They're steel. I did replace the hardware on them, kind of. They used to be white. My mom took them and stripped them and did them gold for me. But that also was a nice little inexpensive upgrade in here. This is my bar cart. One thing about me is I'm kind of a coffee snob. I have just like an old school electric espresso maker. In my dreams, one day I will get like a really big, nice espresso machine. But this one does work for now. And then something that I really love that I feel like sounds gross but isn't is an espresso or coffee related candle. And this one is from Anthropology. It's just called espresso. And I love lighting it on like a Saturday morning in my kitchen. And it's just such a like comforting, nostalgic smell to me. Thank you so much for following along on my home tour. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more. What's this called, Alaina?
It's a chaise.
I know it's chaise, but can I pull off saying that? I'm not French. I'm a big like homemade vodka pasta. Well, and then who's in our house? Okay.
Yeah.
That girl is up to something.